ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to start the ceremony here. This is the soft patch for all the wingers. This is the informal ceremony, which you see tomorrow as the wingers dressed up, wears your pretty uniforms, and says the appropriate things. Tonight, this is for the eyepiece instructor pilots and the students. They're going to get up here. Instructors are going to say some things about the astute, which may or may not be true. And then once that's complete, we'll take the leather patch off here with their aviator wings on and put them on the chest, and they'll wear those for the rest of their career, hopefully. That's the plan, exactly. So enjoy. It's informal. If you want to come up and take some photos, feel free. Just keep in mind the video camera's right here. And for the presenters, stay between the table. We'll keep you in frame. And now I'd like to introduce the commander of Training Wing 5, Captain Moses Maloney.
We got a small class this week of only 11, so we need everybody to be loud and clapping. This is not a church service. It's not a golf game. So it's loud and rowdy today and tomorrow. My job here to kick off the weekend for everybody, do a few introductions, give you some recommendations, issue you one order, and then get off the stage and let the fun begin. And the first introduction is that I really want to introduce myself, because he introduced me as the wing commander. Many of you may not know what that means or what that is, but by way of introduction, I want to ask for a show of hands of anybody who ever watched or remembered the television show in the early 90s called Pensacola Wings of Gold. Does anybody remember that show? Okay. Well, in that show, the wing commander, me, I was played by the actor James Brolin. Okay, right, he knew. There were some hokey things about that show, but that wasn't one of them. They had that nailed, right? In the course of this weekend, I'm sure all the families are going to have opportunity to talk about me or remember me, or years from now, you'll be trying to remember me and talk about, and you'll be asking your new winger, whatever happened to, and you'll remember me as that James Brolin guy. And what that will mean to you is that I am the serious, handsome guy in charge of all the flying that all of the local women are after. Anybody who saw that show will remember that's the role I play here at Training Wing 5. We also have our guest speaker for tomorrow's ceremony, Captain Glenn Doyle, the commander of the HSM wing in Jacksonville, Mayport, Florida. And he's got his wife, his daughter, and their friend here. And you'll get a chance to hear from him tomorrow. So welcome, sir. Glad that you were able to go over from Mayport, Florida today to be here and then to be with you guys tomorrow. This is our guest speaker, guest designator. Our MC tonight sort of touched on the fact that we're videotaping here, and we're going to be videotaping the ceremony tomorrow. All of you will have an opportunity to purchase a DVD of both these ceremonies, plus some special treats, and that will be back in here tomorrow during the reception. There'll be a form that you can purchase a DVD. The hope is that you will purchase one of these and take it home to all the people who could not be here, your friends, family, neighbors, church groups, anybody. Let them know what's going on down here, do a little recruiting for us, and show off how proud all of you are, and what a great weekend that you did have here. If any of you brought your own video cameras or regular cameras, at any time you can get up, you can move right to the front, you can take the picture today, tomorrow, whatever. We encourage you right to the front. We'll say it again tomorrow, and we'll still have people in the back row trying to take pictures. If you've got the camera, you are not in anybody's way. Also, I don't see any little kids today, but if little kids show up tomorrow, don't worry if they're screaming, running, just let them go, run around, scream, we don't care, we can do this ceremony with little kids running around. We've been taking care of these 11 students for the last approximately 18 months. We're used to that. You see, we are winging 11 students this weekend. We've got 6 Marine officers, 3 U.S. Navy officers, and a very unique opportunity. We are winging 2 Royal Danish Air Force officers as honorary naval aviators. So, I guess it's not really honorary. We'll see if they actually do wear our wings when they get back to Denmark, in the Denmark Air Force. The last thing that I want to do is issue one order. I am the senior officer on the base, and it is sort of my responsibility. You can see we've got the kegs flowing. Amy has aces open back there if beer is not what you want. You'll see the exchange of alcohol today. We'll also be back in here tomorrow after the winging ceremony for official toasts, and there will be a class party somewhere tomorrow night, I'm sure. So for our families and guests who've traveled down here, these students have been in flight school for about 18 months, and this is the first beers that they've had in 18 months. And you can imagine how easily intoxicated you could get if you haven't had anything to drink for 18 months and you get your wings and you let your hair down. So I need the families watching out for all the wingers. I need the families watching out for each other. I need the Doyles watching out for each other. We can't have anybody who's had too much to drink out on the highways behind the wheel of the car, okay? So you need to designate drivers, take taxi cabs, sleep on the beach with this family right here. That'll be them, I can already tell. He knew who James Brolin was. Everything else is optional. That's the one and only order for the weekend, okay? Everybody got that clear? Now it is my pleasure to do my final introduction, and first we'd like to bring up here, would you join me in a loud, rousing round of applause for the commanding officer of HT-28. This is Commander John Gypsy McLean, United States Navy.
Good evening. As the Commodore said, I'm John McLean. Call sign is Gypsy. You can hold your applause to the end. You have to bear with me this afternoon. This is not normally my part of the show. Usually Colonel Jim Stretch Kennedy would be up here. He went one way, his back went the other way early this afternoon, and so he's laid up in traction with some Valium. I know we all wish we were there with him. So in addition to that, my Danish students gave me a shot of the National Drink of Denmark to celebrate their winging early this afternoon, and I developed a little lateral one per vibe that I can't quite get rid of. That's a helo pilot joke. So in addition to that, I'm vibrating. The world's spinning. No, not really. Hey, so anyway, I get to propose a toast, and I'd like to note that even though we've had your sons for the better part of 2 years, you've actually been the ones who raised them all that time before then, and we know you raised them right, and maybe after they left your side, they just developed ways about them that weren't quite right. But we worked through those. No, seriously, we appreciate the fact that for a young man to join his military and learn to be an aviator and a war fighter in a country at a time of war when the world is in upheaval is no small thing. And the character that exhibits comes from you, their families. And we are proud to have had them with us for the short period of time and feel confident that they're going to go on and do great things in the service of the nation. And we share that pride with you, their families. So if I may, I'd like to propose a toast from us to the families of our newest aviators and the fine young men they sent us to train. So to the families.
To the families.
To the families.
And now I'd like to turn the mic over to the best looking commanding officer in the HTs. That's Commander Kevin Duster Kroc. Please join me in welcoming Commander Kroc.
Thanks. Coleman always gives this James Rowland speech, and he hit me up earlier. He says, well, you guys say who you look like. Well, I'm a reasonable facsimile. If you've been to any amusement park in the United States or overseas, you got to be as tall as me to get on the rides. All right, I get the honor of toasting our flight instructors, and what I like to try to do is parallel what it's like to be a parent to what it's like to be a flight instructor. We share your highs and lows, only we do it in a much smaller span of time. We are just as proud, and this is a very important day, and tomorrow, even more important day, to see these young men walk across the stage and receive their wings of gold. But if you would just remember back a couple years, or just maybe a few hours, depending on how your siblings and young ones were, but at times you've told them not to do stuff when they're real little, and they continued to do it. And you kept on saying, no, stop, yet they continued to do that. We experienced the same thing in the aircraft on a daily basis. Then at some point in time, they got old enough, and they were still doing something you did not want them to do. But you took a leap of faith, and you asked the question, why do you keep doing that when I tell you not to? And the answer you probably got was, I don't know. Well, I can tell you that same question and that same answer is repeated out there every day on the flight line, in the air, at any outlying field, time and time again. Then at some point in time, it just got to be a little bit too much, and either they left for college, or they went off for a weekend, or maybe, flight school or whatever, and it sort of got quiet, and you said, boy, I need a drink. And you went to the old liquor cabinet, or to the bar, or whatever, and you got something to drink. Well, you will see at the end of the story that each instructor tells today, there will be an exchange of something in a brown bag. And believe me, you're at the end of some fly days, boy, do we need a drink. So, with that being said, I'd like to toast our flight instructors for the outstanding job they do on a daily basis. To our flight instructors. All right, and without further ado, where's my man? There he is. So you can go on the rides too. You're good to go.
About that much.
It's about that much.
All right, kick this off with Captain Doozy and his student. You'll both report to the stage, please. And just watch out for the cord up here. Don't have the wireless this week, sorry.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am, Audrey. I've known Ken, I can call him Ken, for just over a year. Ken, how long did it take you to get through HT 18?
About 13 months, sir.
Just 18?
18 months.
No, just HT 18.
About 6 months.
Okay, aside from all those numbers that you just heard, 6 months is what you're listening to. So you might ask yourself, how do I know this individual for a year when he's only been in the squadron for 6 months? Well, it's a very interesting story. You know this story well, don't you? Yeah. February 2007, at Matzik 21, I get a call from the commanding officer, Colonel Holsworth. I report to his office. He says, felon. Yes, my call sign is felon. We have a Marine that was involved in an altercation with one of Pensacola's finest, a police officer. Based off of your leadership and experience, I need you to give the young lad a little mentoring. Roger that, sir, I got it. So I left his office and I went down to the Marine Officer Control Office, and there stands Lieutenant Zebley and his Charlies. Now, any Marine will tell you, they despise the service Charlie uniform. You wear that uniform for two reasons. You're checking into flight school, or you did something wrong. You may have unsat at a flight, or been involved in an incident with one of Pensacola's finest. So, that is when our relationship began. I mentored Ken for the next 5 months until everything was cleared, and to his credit, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the courts cleared him. So NATSIC cleared him. Now, keep in mind, by this time we had a new commanding officer, Colonel Thomas. So 5 months later, I am reporting to the NATSIC CO, the second CO, on Lieutenant Zebley's conduct. But lo and behold, he gets the blessing, and he comes to South Whiting Field to start training. Good on you. Lo and behold, I'm right behind him. So I wind up at the HITU about the same time, refresher training for instructors, as he's going through HT-18. We see each other in passing. How you doing? Staying out of trouble. Things are going fine. Everything's swell. The world is perfect. One day, I'm studying. Instructors have to study too. And I get a call from the HT-18 commanding officer. I report to his office. He sits me down. Felon, we have a Marine. Might be in some possible trouble. Some civilians are calling. You know this, right? Did you tell your mother this story? Well, she's going to know now. Again, felon, based off your experiences and leadership, we think you need to mentor this young Marine. I said, Roger that. What's his name? Wasn't sure it was you. Had an inkling of a feeling it might be you. He said, Lieutenant Zebley. Son of a... You get arrested one time in your career, and for the remainder of your career, you become the duty expert on criminals. Or alleged criminals in your case. So we sit down, we talk, I get some facts, make some phone calls, and give him a little advice, talk to an attorney, and before you know it, everything's fine. Again, wrong place, wrong time. Kind of a trend, isn't it? So, Lieutenant Colonel Richards, the CO at the time, gives him his blessing and he returns to training. So all is well, the world is perfect. We eventually fly together, and he can make the helicopter go up, he can make the helicopter go down, he can make it go left, he can make it go right. He has no problems flying the aircraft. His problems in flight school were outside of the aircraft. But he stands before you today as a soon-to-be winged aviator. Now, you owe me something. It's not the booze, it's something else. You need to make me a promise. You will keep this with you at all times. When you're closed, you've heard. Now, read it, please, for the audience.
If Ken Zebley, or whatever alias alias he's using, is apprehended, detained, or arrested, do not call Captain Deuce.
Can you read that last line one more time?
Do not call Captain Deuce.
Freedom. Freedom. Now, Audrey, I have something for you, too. Here's some extra ones. You can put one in your car, put one in your purse, put one in your bedroom, church, local bars. I have faith that you know what to do with them. Now, you have to promise me that when you run out, let me know, I'll send you more. One last thing to give you. This is for your future commanding officer. A little preemptive. I think he will appreciate that. Bottle of aspirin. As Marines, we have a saying that you spend 90% of your time on 10% of your Marines. Well, Ken, our numbers are a little off. But you made it. It's been a pleasure knowing you. And trouble aside, he didn't do anything wrong, so I can joke about it.
They're all lies, all lies.
And I hope you did tell your mother, because she might have some questions after tonight. All right. 46 is Okinawa.
Hello everyone, I'm Lieutenant Chris Chrysler. I guess he got the criminal, I got the good boy of the group. I was very honored when he came up to ask me. He said his on-wing couldn't make it, but I was kind of his late stage on-wing. We did quite a few flights together. He said, hey sir, I'd really like you to do my wings. You were kind of on the list. And then I said, hey, it's great, I'd be honored to. It's actually my first one. And then we left, he said, Thanks, Lieutenant Boutros. That was for the staff of 18 and the students of 18, so they all get that now. But anyway, this is something for the friends and family. The students here, they work very hard at what they do, study and try to come prepared for the briefs, but they always try to get that edge. And you see these guys and how they get the edge. They see your name, they see the IP's name on the flight schedule beforehand. It's like, yeah, I got Lieutenant Chrysler, yeah, I got Major Rich. You know, and then they'll call their buddies, or the next day they'll go and look at the picture. It's like, oh wow, Major Rich looked mean. Lieutenant Chrysler, wow, I didn't think they made helmets that big, or whatever. So they try to get that edge, you know. It's like, hey, what kind of tricks does he do to pull on you and all that kind of stuff? Well, with Jer here, I got to tell you, like I said, I got the good guy of the group. When I look at the flight schedule the next day, and I see Jer's name, Peacock, I'm like, right on. I got somebody. I got a student I can work with. He's got it going on. And actually, the guys in 18 in this class, all you guys, I've had a pleasure with flying with. So, no funny stories, man, but congratulations. We got 53's Miramar right here.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Major Ian Dagley, age 28, and these are the Great Danes. So we got Lieutenant Jacobson and Lieutenant Westhoff. Interesting story about these guys. They actually have about 300 hours of fixed-wing jet time for their country. So they are winged. Actually, they've got wings. They're fixed-wing Air Force wings, but plus they're going to have their Navy wings as well here. And Commodore Surge, so you know, they're going to wear both sets when they get back to the motherland. So they're going to work out that way. I'm their on wings. I got to teach them how to fly a helicopter. It was very interesting. I went in to get my new set of on wings, and the operation says, "Hey, we got a set for you. We got the Danish students." I said, first thing I said is, "They speak English?" Yes, they do. They speak English very well. And I said, "Well, are they cool?" And they said, "Yeah, they're cool." That's all right. I'll take them. Both. They do speak English. They are cool, and I had a great time training these two. And a very interesting little story. I used to kind of joke them. I played with them a little bit because they did do really well. But I wanted to know about their time in jet training. So I think one time in the cockpit I asked Jacobson, I said, "Okay, seriously, who would beat who in a dogfight?" And he looked at me straight face. He goes, "Oh, please, sir, I will kick his ass." I said, "Okay, all right, this is good." So he gets out, and Westhoff gets in, and I said, you know, we get up flying. I said, "Hey, like if you two got in a dogfight, you know, who do you think would win?" And of course, Westhoff's a little more diplomatic. "No, hey, sir, you know, I will." And he said he was better at air to ground, and I was better at air to air. But you know, we're both really good. You know, really diplomatic. So I don't know if they ever knew that I played them against each other, but like on our last flight, I think it was in a brief. You remember that? And I said, "Okay, guys, got to get to the bottom of this. Who could beat who in a dogfight?" And they both looked like they ate a sour pickle, looked at each other like, "Uh-oh, what should I say?" So I think it'd be fair to say it would probably be a draw with you two because they're both very well. If they can fly the jet like they can the helo, I think they're going to be in good hands here. So they're back. They're going to do some training at Fort Ruck here for about 6 weeks. Go back to the motherland in July, right? And then they're off to training in their helicopter, and then it's off to Afghanistan for these two next year, about the early summertime frame. So really proud of them. You guys represented the country very well. Really enjoyed training you guys. So let's get the wings on.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Isaiah Blake, and I was neither Joshua Miller or Travis DeMeester's on wing. I was, however, their flight leader, and as such, I got to work with them and schedule them. And I took them on a cross-country to Key West, and I flew a number of their flights. It's interesting, they were in the exact same place in the syllabus all the way through, so they ended up being scheduled a lot. And they worked really well together. The strengths for one person would tend to be the weaknesses for the other and vice versa, so they kind of complemented each other well. And I guess the best way to illustrate that is to talk about a particular flight that I had with them. Formation flights usually begin with about a 20-minute public presentation where they have to stand up and discuss what they're going to do. And they divide it. They each do about 10 minutes. So Travis DeMeester gets up and very calm, cool, collected, very calmly discusses what he intends to do for the flight, and he sits back down. Joshua, doing the second portion, then stands up and unleashes a verbal onslaught of such ferocity that 2 minutes into it, he's foaming at the mouth. Not only is he 3/4 of the way through his 10-minute presentation within 2 minutes, but he's blue in the face because he hasn't stopped to breathe. At this point, I had two conflicting emotions. Curiosity, being the first and foremost, is how long can he keep talking without air? And the second being dismay at the thought of the paperwork I'd have to fill out if he actually did keel over from lack of oxygen. But as it turned out, he was able to finally stop and take a breath and finish his presentation, and he did fine in the flight. So, but I think that pretty well just highlights some of the differences between the two. Travis DeMeester is going to be going out to fly 53s in California, and Josh Miller is going to be going to Norfolk, to my community, to fly the Sierra. They know all about you, and your call sign of Mad Dog will precede you out there.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Rich, Major Rich. I'm these guys on wings. The Captain Dusing over there, he got the criminal, and Lieutenant Chrysler, he got the nice guy. I got these two idiots. So, I mean, seriously, look at them. They, without prior coordination, they would go out and make the same mistake on the same flight at the same instant without talking it over with each other. So I would say, yeah, you must share a brain, but literally, I think they do share a brain because they each only have about half a brain, it seems like. It seemed at times. I mean, you know, that's how it seemed when they're learning how to fly. I'm sure it's they've gotten a little better. Usually I have a lot to say about my own wings. I don't like to make stuff up, but these guys don't have much to say about, which is good. If you do not get recognized for standing out in a squadron, that's a good thing. It means you kept your head low, you hadn't failed flights, hadn't been late to duty, haven't tried to go to Panama City on some crazy clearance yesterday. So, like I said, I don't have too much to say about them, but I will say we started flying, I think it was on a Friday, and it was a rough week, and then I, of course, ended the week with FAM 1, hard flight, and I'm a little worn out, so the next morning, instead of, you know, doing anything rough, I go with my wife and kids, and we go to the Waffle House. I like the Waffle House. And so it's just nice, relaxing drive over there. My wife's asking how my day went the day before, because I got in kind of late. I was like, yeah, I got some new students. They're pretty good. Oh, tell me about them. Oh, nice guys. They seem to fly, you know, for idiots. Seem to fly pretty good. I'm just kidding. They're nice. They're not idiots. But, you know, they're pretty good. So we get there, and we're laughing, we're joking. A little background, one of my real good friends, he has a nickname called Waffle House, because he, you know, of course, got with the Waffle House lady. You do that, and you're Waffle House, right? So we go, we sit down, we're eating, and my wife goes, oh my God, you wouldn't believe it, behind you, it's Jim all over again, it's Waffle House. And I was like, who would be doing that? And I turn around, and there's Brian. At the Waffle House, talking to the Waffle House lady. So I had to go over, hey, calm down. Justin, I will just mention, Last week we had or 2 weeks ago, we had a highway cleanup. The squadron went out there, and I didn't get to go. But we had a highway cleanup, and I just want to point out that he takes his training real serious. I can tell, because we had the cleanup, and I talked to Lieutenant Griggs. Hey, how'd the cleanup go? And we had lots of trash, and you wouldn't believe it, but, and this is no kidding, there's tons of Lieutenant Campbell's grade sheets scattered all up and down Highway 89. And I can just picture him in his little Miata convertible, throwing stuff out the window. Ooh, done with this. Anyway, good job. I'm very proud of both of you. We got Skids or Cobras west and Hueys west, so these guys will be holding hands again out on the west coast. Probably the same squad.
What's that, sir?
Hi, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Commander Todd Bibza, and I had the privilege of teaching Rob how to fly early on. Unfortunately, I don't have any great stories about him being stupid in the aircraft, but I can tell you another story we had one time. On a out and in flight down to Lakeland, Florida, I always like to take guys down to a little small airport. It's called Greystone. It's down in Ocala, and it's kind of horse country down there, and there's kind of a famous person that lives, his name's John Travolta, and he's got a nice big house right on this 10,000-foot runway. And the reason he's got it down there, he's got 2 jets. He's got this 727 parked under a carport right outside his house that you just drive right up the driveway to. So I like to show the on-wings that, and you get a pretty good kick out of that. So we're flying around his house a bunch, and like the paparazzi just circling overhead. And I said, hey Rob, come hard left here. And I guess to Rob that meant pull hard on the collective. So he yanks up on the collective, and boom, we over-torque the aircraft. And what that means is basically we need to land at the first place we can do a safe landing. Well, we've got a 10,000-foot runway down there. So I said, Rob, that's where we're going. And so we land down there on this runway, and we're, like I said, out in the middle, kind of horse country, so our cell phones aren't working. And so he's like, sir, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to go to John Travolta's house and get a phone. And so he's like, sir, can we do that? I'm like, sure we can. So, we trek about, half a mile from the tarmac up to his house, and get greeted by a, butler / security guy at the door, and we explained who we are, we're military, and we broke down and we need to make a phone call back to the base so somebody can come get us. Well, while we're talking to the guy out front, Kelly Preston, who was a major hottie when I was growing up and I had a crush on when I was a flight student, she was walking kind of past the lobby and saw the commotion out front, so she kind of peeked up and walked up to us and was finding out what was going on. And she said, oh, you guys are military and you guys fly? Oh, John loves to fly. And she was all excited and talking to us. Great lady. And at that time, Rob's over there, sir, don't we need to call back to base? Got to call base? So I did what any good instructor would do, and I said, Rob, go make that call. So Kelly invited us back to the pool deck where she was hanging out, so still looking good, by the way. And back there drinking a beer, and Rob finally meanders back after calling back, and the Commodore had no problem knowing who was at Travolta's house, because I seem to have a problem there. But Rob gets back there, and Kelly was very nice and said, hey Rob, what would you like to drink? And he's like, do you have pina coladas? And Rob, no. But we sat there for about an hour and a half talking with her, and she was real good about it. And then she asked where we were going to stay tonight, and I said, well, we'll need to call a cab, and is there somewhere you could recommend? And she was like, well, we've got a guest house in the back here. You're more than welcome to stay here. And Rob's like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, Rob, shut the hell up. We're staying. So, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. So needless to say, the next morning, we had an aircraft come out and pick us up and take us home. But, you know, I was obviously able to teach Rob how to fly, but I wasn't able to teach him to have any fun. So his next tour is going to be out in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you get out that way, please show him a good time. I apparently couldn't get that done. So congratulations, Rob.
Yes, sir.
Who's up?
Oops, sorry. Great.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Griggs. I have the privilege of flying with Derek for the past several months. I am not his on wing. I'm his former flight leader. Now moved up a little bit, but where's he at? Lieutenant Commander Lynn's in like middle of the Indian Ocean right now. So over there. So honored that Derek had me talk to him this evening. Afraid I don't have as many funny stories that I can tell around here. Apparently we went to had a great time in Tampa on a cross country with Nancy Miller as well. It's a great time, and got to fly his last flight too. And just want to understand, you know, I'm your flight operations officer now, so I was a former HSL pilot, and I thought, you know what? I heard that you're going to HSC. I thought it'd be a great idea if we had to go to HSL 51 in Japan. So I pulled some strings and we worked that out for you. So congratulations. I'm just kidding. Derek he is going to HSC Norfolk, right? Okay, and he's done a great job. He's rocked the program. Been a stellar student the whole time. So good job. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Captain Andy Ching. Hoffman. Boy, there were a few times when I didn't know if Hoffman was going to get here, I gotta tell you. Do me a favor, Hoffman, just walk over that way. Go back. Does anybody notice anything interesting about Hoffman's gait? Sort of like this. In my office almost every other day. Not always just to ask a question, but, sir. What'd you do, Hoffman? You're not dressed in Charlie's. What happened, man? Oh, good Lord, Hoffman. Spit it out, man. Pretty Constable Hoffman. He has this uncanny knack of saying things to you, but not looking you in the face. It's more of a kind of an all-around type thing. They don't kind of catch a look at you, see if you're looking, and then continue on. This happens in the plane, too. I've had the pleasure of flying with Hoffman on one or two occasions. Flying out on a, what was it, an out and in, I believe it was, to Troy Muni. Anybody know where Troy Muni is? Exactly. Why he planned it there, I don't know. I just went along with it. Good thing about Hoffman is, hey man, what are you looking at? Sits there flying. It's probably not a good thing for me to ask. Okay, hey Hoffman, where are you going, bud? Still just sitting there, not a word. Okay, maybe I'm not asking the right questions. Hey Hoffman, can you hear me? Oh yeah, I can hear you fine, sir. You know, he doesn't even get the chance to be like, oh, nope, down, sorry, can't hear you. So Hoffman's not the smartest guy in the book, but I am glad that I had the opportunity to be his advisor, and I'm really glad that he made it this far. Congratulations. He'll be going out to Okinawa to fly CH-46s.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that completes the ceremony for tonight. There's still food and drink available, so please feel free to stick around and finish that off. See everybody tomorrow at 1300 for the official winging ceremony. Have a good night.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding Officer of Helicopter Training Squadron 28, Commander John Gypsy McLean,
Commanding Officer, Helicopter Training Squadron 8, Commander Kevin Dester Crop, Commanding Officer, Helicopter Training Squadron 18, Lieutenant Colonel James Stretch Kennedy.
we'd like to welcome you to the Naval Air Station Lighting Field in today's winging ceremony. I'm Captain Dan Lindblom, HD-28 Marine Student Control Officer.
Lieutenant Nathan Porter, HD-28 Navy Student Control Officer. First, I'd like to open the press after the events, beginning with the arrival of the party, followed by the national anthem, and the location of the private chapel. After the location of the private chapel, we enter the march and use today's guest speaker.
After a few words from the guest speaker, we will begin the individual designation ceremony. For those of you who will be joining us on stage to participate in the ceremony, Lieutenant Porter now will now demonstrate the sequence of events. We ask you please join us on the right side of the stage. I'm stating the position of the designator, the person who will be pinning on the wings. Lieutenant Porter is stating the position of the designatee, the person receiving the wings. Lieutenant Porter is now stating the position of the designated officer. Now Lieutenant Porter is stating the position of the family members. Pinning on the wings is set.
Hold on, all you Marines out there, family members, designating officers, designating designator. Simple.
As I was saying, pinning on the wings is simple. You'll be handed a set of gold wings. For the Marines, just simply place them precisely 1/8 of an inch in center of the engineer's pocket. For the Navy and the Coast Guard, just place them anywhere you like. In the past, wings have typically been set in this fashion. However, in today's political climate, this has to be pressed firmly into the material. After each winging, there will be an official photo taken. I'm now standing in the position of the newly designated Naval Aviator. Lieutenant Porter is standing in the position of the proud family members. Mothers, wives, sisters, and girlfriends typically pose in this fashion. After the photo, we invite you to exit stage left through the receiving line. Your newly designated Naval Aviator will be the last person on the stage.
After the pinning ceremony is complete, chapel to the benediction. After the benediction, request all newly designated naval aviators to hold the stage to finish the last photo. Please hold your photos until the official time to complete the photo. Once complete, please down the way and just like all the box they want to do. If anybody needs to focus on this camera, just grab it. Allow me to chest now. After this photo, we invite everyone to sight all photos in the circle.
Again, welcome to NAS Lighting Field. Please rise for the arrival of the official party.
Father, I open this winging ceremony today by giving you thanks for everything you have done here at Naval Air Station Whiting Field and training Air Wing 5. Today, family, friends, loved ones, staff, instructors, and many others have come together to acknowledge the accomplishments of these soon-to-be Wings of Gold recipients. This day dawns a light that has been forthcoming for many months. May it be blessed with great joy and excitement as we give honor where honor is due. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Commander Kropp, Colonel Kennedy, and Captain Maloney, I'd like to welcome you to today's winging ceremony. I'd like to quickly recognize a few folks here. First of all, from our families, thank you for coming from out of town. This is really your presence here that makes this such a special occasion, and we're so proud to have you here. Also, Captain Sadsad, the commanding officer of NAS Whiting Field, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. Major Digman representing Colonel Thomas from Marine Aviation Training Support Group 21, Massey 21, in charge of all Marines here. Also, thank you for attending. And also, Captain Christopher Miller, United States Naval Reserve. Sir, thank you for coming. Congratulations as well. It's my pleasure today to introduce today's guest speaker, Commodore Glenn Doyle, United States Navy. Captain Doyle is a 1984 graduate of Penn State and got his wings back in 1986, about the time everyone else here getting their wings today were still using sippy cups. In fact, his aviator number, we all get aviator numbers, his aviator number, I looked it up, is 18,491, and to give you an idea, right now we're at about 23,000, exactly, we're at 29,433, so quite a few people through the door between when he got his wings and where we are today. He is a Lance pilot like me, flew about 2,500 hours on basic 60B aircraft, primarily out of one operational squadron, that's the Proud Warriors of HSL 42, located in Naval Station Mayport, Florida. In addition, he was a mini-boss on USS Peleliu and was air boss on USS Nassau. Captain Doyle is currently the commander, Helicopter Maritime Strike Wing U.S. Atlantic Fleet. He's responsible for all of the HSL and HSM squadrons on the East Coast supporting the Atlantic Fleet, surface combatant ships, cruisers, frigates, and destroyers with 1- and 2-plane Lance detachments. He's also joined by his family today, and we certainly welcome them here. Glad you're here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Commodore Glenn Doyle.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me okay? You working? Okay, great. Well, I'd like to say thank you to Commodore Maloney, to the skippers, Captain Sadsad, for having me here. This really is an honor for me to be here and to recognize the winging and the work of all these officers who are being winged today. This is in fact a special day. That was a very nice introduction, Skipper. Thank you. I wish my mom was here. I think she'd like to hear that. But I brought my family instead. And I understand we're making a video, so maybe I'll buy a video and send it to my mom. She's been wondering what I've been doing for the last 20 years or so. This is actually my first winging since I've been winged here, and that was in March of '86, as the skipper said. I was here with my parents and my wife. We'd been married 2 weeks at that point. We actually had to push my winging class, one class, so I could get married. I don't know if they do that anymore with NAPI. That may be too much pressure on the system. We were to have to move my wedding. But back then, it was a little kinder and gentler to let me get married while I was still a student. So it was exciting for us to be here then, and although it sounds like a long time ago, 22 years, I tell you, it's gone by very, very fast. And I think it's gone by very, very fast because it's been a lot of fun. When I was standing here as an ensign getting winged, I never in the world would have believed that I would have done more than my absolute minimum commitment. I was having a lot of fun flying helos, but I wanted to be a young guy, I just wanted to fly, and that's kind of what this was all about at the time. But it has stayed fun. I've enjoyed the Navy, and as long as it stays fun, I plan on staying in, and to this point, here I am. So for those of you sitting here thinking that you're going to do maybe 4 or 5 or your minimum commitment years, stand by. You never know, you may be standing up here in 22 years. It's kind of funny to think about that. Did I say you guys look great? I'm going to take a picture of you guys. Hold on. All right, everybody smile. Smile. That's awesome. Let's take one with me too. You guys ready? Okay, maybe now, just one with me now. Did you get a couple hundred of those made up for the oratory? Thank you. Okay, I want to talk really about just two things today, and I will be brief, because I recognize it's my comments is the only thing between now and you guys getting winged. What I want to talk about first is what the helicopter force is doing in the world. Why are we here? Why are we training helicopter pilots? What are these guys getting ready to do? Looking over the winging class, I noticed we have our 2 students from Denmark. Congratulations. I don't have any idea what we're going to do. Other than what I learned last night, that you will be going to Afghanistan on deployment. I understand you guys are both top of the class, so I say congratulations to you for your hard work. I'm sure it has been quite a process to get here through all the training you've done. And going off to a wartime environment, I wish you the best of luck, Godspeed, and tremendous success on your deployment. So congratulations on being here and completing with such honors. For the Marine Corps students, our 6 wingers, I would tell you the Marine Corps has been carrying heavy water since 9/11. They have deployed, they have redeployed, they're flying combat aircraft in a combat zone, delivering combat troops, taking fire, doing the hard work. The Marines have really cruised at a high op tempo during the last 5 years. You know, I'd like to just have a round of applause for the Marines here. And that leads us to our Navy students, our 3 Navy students, which I can talk a little bit more intelligently about since that's what I do for a living. There's a number of things going on in the Navy helicopter force right now. As we speak, the Lincoln, the Carrier Lincoln, did anyone see the Carrier PBS show this last week? Is that incredible? Well, the Lincoln has just steamed into the Persian Gulf, joining Harriet Truman there. Harriet Truman's getting ready to leave, but we have 2 carrier presence now in the Arabian Gulf because of things going on that you read about in the newspaper. Iraq continues to be a present. Iran is doing a little saber rattling, supporting Iraq in the insurgency area. So we have brought 2 carriers into the Gulf right now. Helicopters are a big part of this. As we speak today, this week, the Navy has 108 ships deployed. That constitutes about 40% of our force. If that doesn't sound like a high number, it is, because at any time we have a number of ships that are in the yards, we have a number of ships that are training to go to deployment, that have just got back. So to actually have 40% of our force deployed is a pretty high number. 2 of the carriers in the Gulf. The helicopters there are flying, as we talked about the Marine missions. The Navy missions are delivering special operations force. They're doing air ambulance over the desert. They are providing protection for the oil platforms. They're providing protection as the ships go through the Straits of Hormuz for commercial and military vessels. And you say, why are we doing all this? I think our main goal, why we are there, is global peace. What we don't want, what no one in this room wants, is for any one power in that area of the world to gain control. Any rogue dictator to gain enough power that they can take over that region. The human rights, the economic impact, and really the world peace stability impact would be so effective if that were to happen. That's why we're in the 5th Fleet. And that's why helicopters, and that's why these guys are flying in the Persian Gulf area. Other things going on. Go south a little bit to Africa. We are working very closely with Africa. We have ships and helicopters flying down around both coasts of Africa, trying to develop partnerships, global cooperation with African countries. Africa is an emerging continent, a lot of resources, but also a lot of instability. We want to be part of the answer there. So we are working with their navies, working with our allies, trying to create new allies. So again, thinking about global peace. A real hot spot down there is off Somalia and Mombasa. We call that the Horn of Africa. If you look at the east coast of Africa there, we call it the Horn. And if you read the newspapers about the pirates, that's where all the piracy is happening. All right, so I think about pirates. What do you guys think about? Johnny Depp, he's got the hat and the sword and gets off with the good-looking woman at the end. That is not what's happening off Somalia. These are bad guys. These are people who have very little concern or consideration for human rights. They're mercenaries. And what they are doing is they're going out, they're capturing these ships, primarily cargo ships that have value, sometimes big dollar yachts, and really holding them for ransom. And they're pretty hard on the people that they capture. Not much consideration, again, for human rights. So what we're trying to do in our effort to have partnership there is we're trying to protect these ships from being taken by pirates. Pretty daunting task, considering the number of ships and pirates are out there and the number of us. But helicopter pilots are day and night flying patrols up and down the coastline, trying to provide that sort of presence and force. But when they do actually get taken, what we try to do is really try to boycott them or embargo them, stop them from being able to get supplies and kind of force them to have to negotiate sooner than they might have to. And we've been pretty successful at that. For the most part, there are terms reached, but Navy helicopters are flying around armed and preventing these ships from getting resupplied. Another area of operations for Navy helicopters right now are closer to home, down in the Caribbean and South America. You may know that most of the drugs that come into the country come up from Central America, and a big part of those come by the water. So for the last 20 years, we have been trying to stop this flow of drugs into our schools, into our streets. We call that counter-narco ops, but it actually has become counter-narco terrorism ops, because what we've learned is that this money that these making, again, not a nice group of people, a lot of this money is getting funneled directly into terrorist organizations. So there's two good reasons to stop these guys from running drugs. We recently have gained sniper capability. This is a new capability for Navy helicopters. We fly with Coast Guard snipers, and as these go fast, these speedboats with 4 engines are screaming up with a load full of drugs. We're shooting the engines out, taking these guys, putting them in prison, and confiscating the drugs. We have made a significant impact in the last 3 years of this new capability in stopping the flow of drugs into the nation. I'm pretty proud of that. So that's what's going on in the world right now with the fleet. And soon, we're going to have some fleet aviators here, some new fleet aviators here in just a few minutes. So the last thing I'd like to do is take just a couple minutes and talk to you guys, to the guys who are going to be weighing about leadership and what that means to be a fleet aviator. And really, I just want to make 2 points to you. The first one is professional excellence. And key on that word, excellence. Pay attention to that word. Make that part of your thinking. Make that part of how you do business. With everything that you do in the squadron, in your professional life, in your job, try to do it to the best of your ability. Never accept mediocrity for yourself, for excellence. As a warrior, as a helicopter pilot, this winging in some ways represents completion, but really it represents the beginning. You're going to go to the FRS, and you're going to go to the fleet squadron, and you're going to learn how to fight a brand new aircraft. You're going to learn about the tactics, you're going to learn about the weapons, you're going to learn about the airframe, you're going to learn about how to employ it in coordinated ops, and it's going to be an education. So take that very seriously. Continue to stay motivated and pursue excellence in that role. I'd also encourage you to pursue excellence in everything else that you do professionally. You are not only aviators, but you're officers. And in your role as an officer, you're going to have responsibility for troops. They're going to be watching you. Take care of your troops. Do that with excellence. Do that with energy. And you're going to have ground jobs. I remember when I first came to squadron, I got a ground job. I think I was the assistant material control officer. I don't want to be assistant material control officer. What does that guy do? I said, I want to be QAO, in charge of maintenance. I want to be the NATOPS officer, in charge of flight standardization. But you don't start there. So I tried to be the best assistant material control officer the squadron ever had. I gave it my best effort. I did pretty well at it. And I got to be NATOPS officer. Same thing is going to be true with you. Whatever job you're given, I guarantee you, your commanding officers and your department heads are watching you. And they're going to give you something small. And based on your performance on these small things, you'll be rewarded with greater opportunities. Where if you blow off the small things because they're small things, if you don't treat those with excellence, that's where you end up still. Does that make sense? Professional excellence. Second thing I'm going to ask you to pay attention to is integrity. And I'm not going to talk long about that because I assume integrity among all of you. You're going to show up at the squadron. Your commanding officer is going to assume integrity. But I would ask you not to compromise that assumption. To say don't lie is probably obvious, but don't take a shortcut. Don't cheat on a yellow sheet, as far as your flight time. Don't overstate a qual. Don't minimize something if it shouldn't be minimized. What your commanding officer and your department heads are expecting of you is the truth. They're expecting it straight. They're expecting to hear it from you. That's also what your troops are expecting to you. Especially the more senior enlisted, they're going to see through it in a heartbeat if you're not shooting straight with them. So it's assumed that you're going to operate with integrity. Please continue to operate with integrity. And I will tell you, if you lose that integrity, it's very difficult to earn it back. So 2 things I want you to leave this from a leadership perspective is professional excellence and integrity. It has been my pleasure to speak to you, however briefly today. It's a real honor to be back in Whiting Field, and we look forward to the winging part of the ceremony here. Thank you.
While we rearrange the stage, we'll be all
Hey, Demeester, you gonna make it? Late night last night? You're coming up, bud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll kick the ceremony off with our first winger, First Lieutenant Justin C. Campbell, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Campbell attended the Sacramento State University and hails from Vacaville, California. He's being joined on stage by Tommy Campbell, his brother, Tom and Deb Campbell's father and mother, Krista Flannery, his fiancée, Victor Conte, his uncle, and Barbara Bulkley, his grandmother. First one's always hardest. First Lieutenant Campbell will be transferring to Mag 39 in Camp Pendleton, California, where he will fly the AH-1 Whiskey, the Cobra.
First Lieutenant Brian M. Clegg, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Clegg attended the United States Naval Academy and hails from Brentwood, California. Pinning on his wings today will be his fiancée, Angela Turner. Guests on stage will be Bruce Clegg, his father, and Christine Clegg, his mother. First Lieutenant Clegg will be transferred to MAG 39, Camp Pendleton, California, to fly the UH-1 November with Huey.
First Lieutenant Travis J. DeMeester, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant DeMeester attended the University of Michigan and hails from Ludington, Michigan. Putting on his wings today will be Alan DeMeester, his father. Guests on stage include Sue Ann and Violet DeMeester, his mother and grandmother, Daniel and Casey DeMeester, his brother and sister-in-law, and Melissa Marcus, his girlfriend. First Lieutenant DeMeester will be transferring to MAG 16 in Miramar, California, where he will fly the CH-53 Echo, Big Iron.
Lieutenant J.G. Derek W. Escalante, United States Navy. Lieutenant J.G. Escalante is from Norfolk, Virginia, and attended North Carolina State University. Putting on his wings today will be Mary Escalante, his mother. Guests on stage, Raul Escalante, his stepfather. Lieutenant J.G. Raymond Strangways, United States Navy, his grandfather, and Jean Strangways, his grandmother. Greg Strangways, his father, and Autumn Coffey, his girlfriend. Lieutenant J.G. Escalante will be transferred to HSC East in Norfolk, Virginia, where he will fly the MH-60 Sierra.
First Lieutenant Marcus A. Hoffman, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Hoffman attended Angelo State University in Texas and hails from Phoenix, Arizona. Putting on his wings today will be Monty Hoffman, his brother, guest on stage Karen Hoffman, his mother, and Joe Rosenkrantz, his grandmother. First Lieutenant Hoffman will transfer to MAG 36 in Okinawa, Japan. We will fly the CH-46 Echo.
Lieutenant Mikkel R. Jacobson, Royal Danish Air Force. Lieutenant Jacobson hails from Aarhus, Denmark, and attended the Royal Danish Air Force Academy. He'll be receiving his wings today from Jesper Sorensen, a friend, and his guests on stage include Anders Quist, another friend. Lieutenant Mikkel R. Jacobson has been placed on the Commodore's list with distinction and awarded this certificate for sustained outstanding performance in both the flight syllabus and academic curriculum. Lieutenant Jacobson will be transferred to the 724th Squadron, Air Base Karup, Denmark, to fly the AS-550 Fennec.
Ensign Robert W. Knozer, United States Navy. Ensign Knozer attended Purdue University and hails from Mokina, Illinois. Putting on his wings today will be Ann Knozer, his wife. Guests on stage include Robert and Mary Louise Knozer, his father and mother, and Daryl and Anita Green, his father-in-law and mother-in-law. Ensign Canosa will be transferring to HS East Jacksonville, Florida, where he will fly the SH-60 Foxtrot.
Ensign Joshua B. Miller, United States Navy. Ensign Miller hails from Iowa City, Iowa, and attended the University of Colorado. He'll be receiving his wings from Noah Miller, his brother. Guests on stage include Captain Christopher Miller, United States Navy Reserve, and Elizabeth Miller, his father and mother, and Rebecca Miller, his sister. Ensign Miller will be transferred to HSC East in Norfolk, Virginia, where he will fly the MH-60 Sierra.
First Lieutenant Jerry E. Peacock, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Peacock attended Auburn University and hails from Springfield, Virginia. Fitting on his wings today will be Rachel Peacock, his wife. First Lieutenant Peacock will be transferred from MAG 16 to Miramar, California to fly the CH-53 Echo.
Lieutenant Peter L. Westhoff, Royal Danish Air Force. Lieutenant Westhoff hails from Bundsjø, Denmark, and attended the Royal Danish Air Force Academy. He'll be receiving his wings from Lieutenant Anja Q. Lund, Royal Danish Air Force, his wife. Guests on stage, Bastian Quistgaard Westhoff, his son, and Lona Engelbrecht, friend. Lieutenant Peter L. Westhoff has been placed on the Commodore's list with distinction and awarded this certificate for sustained outstanding performance in both the flight syllabus and academic curriculum. Lieutenant Westhoff will be transferred to the 724th Squadron, Air Base Karup, Denmark, and will also fly the AS-550 Fennec.
And closing out today's ceremony will be First Lieutenant Kenneth M. Zebley, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Zebley attended Embry-Riddle College in Florida and hails from Sacramento, California. Putting his wings on today will be Audrey Zebley, his wife, and Jan Zebley, his mother. And attending him on stage today will be the entire 7th row. First Lieutenant Zebley will be transferring to MAG 36 in Okinawa, Japan, to fly the CH-46 Echo.
Well, that concludes today's winging ceremony. Please join me in one more round of applause for the world's newest Naval Aviators. Immediately after the ceremony, we need all the wingers up on stage for photos. Please, families, hold your photos until Miss Virginia Mullen is done with her picture. She'll give you the signal, then you can snap away like the paparazzi you always want to be. I hope to see you after the ceremony at the open.
All right, if we may, let's close in a word of prayer. Let us pray. Father, you have been a dwelling place throughout all generations. You give and you take away. As I stand here today and look upon these new naval aviators, I can't help but wonder if they truly understand what it is that they have achieved. The responsibility of protecting this great nation and the principles by which it was founded upon requires much more than academic and cockpit excellence. Your word says, "The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways." That's why I now ask for your wisdom to guide them as they lead this country and its military into the future. Bless them and their families. Protect them in all they do. May their lives and careers be filled with great fulfillment and success as they protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all mankind. Father, thank you for hearing this prayer. I love you and I give you glory. Amen.